Good morning, Rose Red Homestead, and today we are going to continue with providing videos of how we use various items from our food storage. Today we're featuring home canned hamburger, but we are really going to be doing a few more items besides that hamburger. Before we get started, I want to show you these posters that are behind me. This is just a reminder of our February one-week book sale on this single book. This is A Comfortable Food Security Plan for Uncomfortable Times. This is the one that my sister Cindy and I wrote just about a year ago. It took us a year to write it, and everyone was so anxious for it. It is now in our bookstore, and we're putting just this one single book on sale. Then these two posters right here announce that our water bath canning basics and pressure canning step-by-step online courses are also now, both of them are in our bookstore. So when you go to the bookstore, just click on courses and these two will pop up. I've duplicated it, so it is now here, and we are no longer taking students on our other platform. We are guiding them here. If you are already signed up on the other platform, no worries. You get to continue on that platform until the end of December, so that will give you ample time for finishing the course. But all new applicants need to sign up right through our bookstore. All right, so today we're going to show three things quite quickly so that the video doesn't last way too long. The first one I'm just going to talk about, but the other two we're going to actually make right here. So this first lineup has, from our food storage, a pint of ground beef, a pint of corn, and this corn was part of our Tadler lid test. And we have a quart of my triple bean mix. Then I have a can of tomatoes. This could be replaced with a pint of tomatoes. And then I have some taco seasoning. So to make taco soup, I just dump all of these things right in a large pot, put in 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, and then just let it simmer until the flavors have mixed and we have dinner. Now, I prefer to do it with individual ingredients. A lot of people will can the taco soup all by itself in a jar. Well, this is hardly enough for Jim and me. I mean, it is for one meal, but we like a big batch of taco soup that we can keep in the refrigerator and have for supper or for lunch for several days. So in addition to that, if you really follow the USDA can your own soup recipes with doing taco soup, it would be way too thin for my taste, too much liquidy liquid in there. So that's why I much prefer the individual ingredients. So we're going to set these aside. And we're going to move to our dip. Now this is kind of a layered dip. I have the recipe for this dip and the other casserole that we're going to make, and the links will be below the description of the video. So here we go. This one is called beef dip. And we start with taking our pint of kidney beans, opening it. Some of you like to save all these juices and use them for soups and different things. Our kitchen is just about to be in a commotion for the next little while as they complete our remodel. And so I'm really not wanting to save much of anything. And I'm going to run a little water over it to drain it. And the recipe calls for 1 cup, which is half of a pint. Now, I'm going to be adjusting the casserole recipe and using what's left of these half pints of ingredients that we'll be using for this. So here is a cup of these kidney beans. And then to that cup, I am going to add 2 teaspoons of cumin. Taking a fork and mashing everything together. Tablespoon of lime juice, and I am just using commercially bottled lime juice. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And then another mash. The next thing is to open the ground beef. Now, I'm not sure if your ground beef looks like this, but I've had a lot of people get a little bit panicky when they have a ribbon of fat that runs around the top of their ground beef, wondering if it's okay. Yes, it is okay. Now, this fat doesn't go completely through. It's just a thin little ribbon around. And I get out as much as I can. Obviously, I can't get out everything. In this bottle, and because it has been sitting in this liquid for 1.5 years since we canned it, I'm just going to put this in the microwave just for about a minute because I want it to give up all of its canning liquid. So we'll put this in the microwave. All right, so here it is, all juicy, so I'm going to just run that through this little sieve. And again, the recipe calls for just 1 cup. So I'm going to take 1 cup and just kind of sprinkle the beef over the beans. Some people say they don't care for the taste of the hamburger after it's been canned. But when you mix it with other foods, it really isn't too bad. And then the next thing that we do is we take half of a pint of canned salsa. So that's another cup. And we're going to layer that over the top as well. There are lots of layered dip recipes, and I want to follow this recipe fairly exact so that you get an idea of what it looks like. But if I were doing this one, I would probably add a layer of sour cream in there. And then we take the cheese, which is about half a cup. I think I increased the cheese just a little bit. And we scatter some cilantro on the top. And there we have our finished dip. And it looks just absolutely lovely. And there's not a whole lot there. So if I were doing this for family, I would double or triple that recipe. We can decorate it with chips along the side or have the chips in a separate basket. So there are lots of ways that you could serve this. So right now, I'm just going to serve myself a little bite, going clear to the bottom and picking up a little bit of everything, including the hamburger. I especially want to taste the hamburger, and we'll see how it is. It's good. It is okay. I may even want to heat that and make it a warm dip and have the cheese melted a little bit on the top. But this is one way that we can use hamburgers. So I'm going to set this aside and we're going to get busy on our last item. So we took just a little break. So I zapped this for about 3 minutes and I think it's going to be a lot better. So I'm going to just try it. Oh, so good. So much better as a hot dip. So I'm going to make that note on the recipe. Okay, moving forward. We are now going to make a Fiesta cornbread casserole. Now, I don't know about you, but these little boxes of the Jiffy cornbread mix are 60 cents in some stores. So I stock up on these when I want to do some cornbread in a big hurry and not make it from scratch, and that's one of these times. So I have everything all ready here. The first thing that we do is we mix up this cornbread. Here we go. 1 carton of Jiffy mix in the bowl, and to that we add 1/3 cup of milk and 1 egg. Then I'm just going to mix. And it's going to be a little bit lumpy, the directions say, to not worry about that. So we're not going to. And then it is going to go right in this 9x9 that I have previously sprayed with nonstick spray. And we will spread it around. Now we use some of the same ingredients as the dip. So the next one is to take a jar of our kidney beans and a jar of our home canned hamburger and to drain them. And so to do that, once again, we are going to put both in the microwave and give them a little bit of help with the draining. So we'll be back when the draining is done. All right, so these were in the microwave. I put them on for 3 minutes, so they both would give up their liquids, and now I'm just going to drain them. While those drain, I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning in this bowl. And now we just dollop blobs of this all over the top of this cornbread mix. And I did add the extra kidney beans and hamburger that were left over from the dip. And by the way, while we were off camera, Jim decided to sample the dip and pronounced it delicious. So this is almost going to make a whole layer in and of itself. We want that cornbread to bubble up a little bit in between things. So then we take a whole pint of salsa and pour over the top. Sprinkle with cheese. And then the recipe calls for us to dollop on top of this a 1/2 pint of stewed tomatoes. Well, I'm just going to use what is left of that other salsa. Sort of randomness here. And in the oven it goes at 350 for 1 hour. And so when our hour is up and this is all done and bubbly, we will bring it back to let you see how it looks. Casserole is just out of the oven, but I first have to show you the dish that the dip was in. That is, was past tense. Look at this. Now, I don't know who ate all of this because I didn't actually witness it. I just know that I only had 3 or 4 bites, so I just can't say who else must have eaten the whole thing, but I hope that he enjoyed it. Jim, did you enjoy it?
Gremlins.
Oh, the gremlins. The gremlins have come in again. Okay.
I wouldn't do anything like that.
He said it was the best dip I've ever made. So there you have that.
That's what the gremlins told me.
The evaluation from our chief tester in the family. So here is our casserole. It turned out really pretty. We have cornbread popping through around the edges. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a bite here, and we will see what it looks like when we dish into it. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to take just a little bite. It's good. The cornbread is not as good as our homemade cornbread, but there are just days when this very quick little casserole would be just the thing, and I wouldn't care whether it tasted as good as homemade cornbread or not. It has these nice layers of meat and beans, and then the salsa gives it a really nice touch. The taco seasoning comes through just great. This really is a nice casserole, and so fast. So these were 2 things that we made from scratch, and the third one that I told you how to make it from individual ingredients. And we've used quite a few ingredients from our home storage today in this video. First of all, the home canned hamburger. And I use it for more than these things. I use it in soups all the time. Anything that I would normally use it for tacos or enchiladas or anything like that, it works really, really well. I would say we use a lot of it for taco soup. We really love that taco soup as well. We also used kidney beans, and if we had done the taco soup, we would have used a pint of corn and a quart of my triple bean mix. We also used pints of home canned salsa. So there are many, many ways that we can use the foods that we have stored, that we have preserved ourselves through canning or dehydrating or freeze drying. And this is exactly what we should be doing. We need to eat what we store, and then the corollary to that, of course, is to store what we eat so that we can rotate through our food so that it doesn't get too old. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it gave you some really fun ideas, some delicious ideas. And we will see you at our next video.